Two, you know who it is already. You know, one of the homies back home actually convinced me to do this type of video. You know, it's a real quick interview about, basically my story and my goals and stuff like that. So I got my cameraman, which is my little brother. He asked me the questions that most people ask me because I actually called the people back home, asking what questions should I use and stuff like that. And these are the questions that come from my clientele and stuff like that back home in New York. So without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, what's your name?
BrookLyn Barber. My real name is RJ, but I go by BrookLyn Barber or RJ the Barber. The reason why I go by BrookLyn Barber is because I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I have that New York swag, the New York style to my type of haircuts that I do. And each haircut I do that New York style to it. So, I got that when I was staying out in Oklahoma and stuff like that. So ever since then, actually I've been going by BrookLyn Barber a little bit before I moved out of New York, but BrookLyn Barber is where, in Oklahoma, is where BrookLyn Barber sticked out the most. So that's mainly my name and what I go by. So
What made you become a barber?
maybe become a barber was, to be honest with you, man, I'm tired of working for somebody else. Currently I work part-time for a fast food restaurant that's to help me get through my schooling and help me pay my bills and take care of my daughter and shit. What made me become a barber was the fact that, and not so much to say it's easy money, but it's fun money to make. You know, like I said before, I'm tired of working for somebody else. I want to work for myself. I want to make my own schedule. I want to make my own shift. I want to make my own money where I ain't got to pay nobody nothing. Which I know in the beginning I'm about to pay booth rent and all that good stuff, which I'm not worried about that. But like I noticed, man, my first time ever cutting somebody's hair is when my cousin came over and he needed a haircut, but he didn't have money for him to go to a shop. And I started off with a pair of Wall Home Pro house clippers, and I dead ass gave him, I cut his whole head. I didn't have no guard, so I had to, ghetto fly. You know how we do when we first, well, most of us first start. But sitting in my bathroom, I'm cutting his hair. I did as gave him a hard ass, it was actually pretty good for my first haircut. My mom was actually pretty surprised at me, like, so I did my cousin's hair and all that, and it came out good. There was no guard, so it was real short, but you were still able to see the hairline and the edge up, and I did the edge up with the same clippers, all that. I used a regular shaving razor to make that more defined. And, like, surprisingly, I did not cut him at all. Like, I really thought I was going to cut him, but I didn't cut him. And, like, I realized after that haircut, my other cousin came over, and he used to cut his own hair. And, he didn't know how to do the edge up or nothing like that, to edge up the back of the neck. I had an idea of doing it. Because when I'm sitting in the shop, when I used to get my haircuts in the shop, I would watch my barber in the mirror do the techniques he was doing. So I kind of learned from them a little bit. And anyway, so I cut his hair, or like I cut his whole head and all that. And I noticed as I was cutting his hair, when I turned them clippers on, nothing else mattered. To me, my vision was like the movie Biker Boys with Lawrence Fishburne, and where when he's at a race, everything is blurred out and it's just that finish line. That's kind of how it is for me. Like, once I put them clippers on, nothing else matters. Everything's blurred out until I get that haircut done. And and it makes me feel good, to help other people. So that's some of the reasons why that I became a barber, and most of the reasons why, most reasons why people become a barber, man. I'm tatted all the way down my arms, so it's hard for me to get a good business type job. And it wasn't so much me becoming a barber because everybody in my hood was doing it, man. It's mainly because I want to do it, man. It makes me feel good. I can't say that more than enough times. It makes me feel good at the end of the day. So that's why I became a barber.
How has becoming a barber changed your life?
Becoming a barber changed my life tremendously, man. Like, it's like, I come from Brooklyn, New York, like I said before, man. And real quick, my story was, nobody believed I was gonna make it past 21 and be out of the hood or be off the block, all that, So, like, when I started cutting when I was like 17, 18 years old, man, I was still catching charges here and there and stuff like that. And barbering changed my life, man, because it kept me off the street. Every time I came home, or whatever the case may be, every time I'll get off with the charge or whatever the case may be, I'll go to a barber shop, and that barber, the head barber, the one that owned that shop, always gave me either apprenticeship spot, or they gave me a place to hang out so I could stay the fuck up off the block. And that's part of the reason why I became a barber too, man, is because it gave, growing up, man, barbershops always gave me the opportunity to stay off the streets and shit like that. But it changed my life, man, because I'm no longer, like, I'm 23 years old, about to be 24, man, working on getting my license. And barbering changed my life for the simple fact that I'm no longer that individual I once was 5 years ago. Now, 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't be sitting here in front of y'all. Shit, about maybe 4 years ago, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of y'all. I was living life crazy and doing what we all do, being from rough parts of the world and rough parts of the United States and shit like that, where, we got to get it how we live it, we grow up around, we become product of our own environments, and I didn't want to be another statistic of what my hood is normally known about. I wanted to be something different, and so it made me become more mature, make me want to strive so much harder than sit there on the corner selling drugs all the time or doing the shit that I was doing, so it made me a mature young man that I am today, man. And I look back in my rearview mirror, I see what my past was, and I don't want nothing to do with it no more. And I got a lot of goals in this industry that I don't plan on stopping no time soon. Period. Point blank simple.
Did you run into any problems or obstacles on your road to become a better barber?
I ran into a few, man. I went to, I'm currently still in school to get my license. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but y'all ain't gonna tell me that I'm not a barber just because I'm not licensed. I don't give a fuck what any of y'all say. I don't care. I'll let you see my face even better if you feel some type of way about it. I really don't. But at the end of the day, I'm a barber. I'm a barber at heart, and nothing gonna change that. Ain't none of y'all. What you gotta say is not gonna change that or stop me from doing what I gotta do to support me and mine. But I went to American Barber Institute in New York, which is if I remember correctly, is on 29th and Broadway, I believe, somewhere in that area. And I went there for a couple weeks, and I ran into an obstacle because I got into a bad accident and I couldn't no longer return to school because of medical conditions. And then I moved out of New York, and then I went to Oklahoma Technical College, which was a college for multiple technical trades. And being in that school, man, I was damn near about to graduate, and due to life and life terms, I wasn't going to school a lot, or I was missing a couple hours, missing a couple credits, and they got fed up with my attitude because I had a real bad attitude towards some of the teachers or some of the authorities there. And because I'm the type of individual where I don't take shit from nobody. I don't care who you are, how big you are, what you got in your car, what you got on your waist. None of that shit phases me, man. So they weren't a big fan of that, and they expelled me. Actually they suspended me, and then I tried to revoke their suspension, appeal the suspension as what they said, and they did not like my appeal letter. I had life on life terms come up, man. I found out that I had a daughter, after like 2 years of the mother telling me it's not my, whatever the case may be, the normal hood story. And that was another obstacle that I ran into, and like the typical obstacles that every barber runs into, licensed or not licensed, is when the shitty weather's around, you get no clientele, none whatsoever, or you get few here and there that really need to edge up or really need to shape up, whatever the case may be. But the school issue was the main obstacle and problems that I ran into on my road to becoming the barber that I am now, and what I plan on being as I continue on this road, this wonderful journey. You know what I mean? But I realized that on my road, there's always gonna be hurdles for me to jump. Always. That's on any road that you take, on anything. There's, for the addicts, for the recovering addicts, there's always that urge to, or that thought of using again and possibly relapsing. So there's always them the hurdles that they gotta jump on their journey. You know, for people that cut themselves, or for addiction of cutting themselves, there's always that hurdle that some shit may come up, and the only way you know how to deal with it is by doing what you know best. You know, or whatever. Like barbering is my new addiction. You know, so there's always gonna be hurdles for me to jump, whether I may deal with a nasty ass customer, or I can't cut a customer because they got too many ingrown hairs, or they got AIDS, or whatever, which I don't care, man. As long as I have no open wounds and I don't cut nobody and they don't bleed or bleed onto me, I'm not gonna have no contact with it because I don't have no open wounds, so therefore I'm not gonna get it. That's another thing for another video. But anyway, you know, so, you know, but it's up to me on what I want to do with these obstacles and these problems and these hurdles that I gotta jump. You know, my biggest thing with you know, I have no fear. I fear no man but God himself. You know, fear to me is false evidence appearing real. You know, and I don't believe in that. You know, I'm not gonna be scared of whatever shit comes up. You know what I mean? So those are the only issues that I run into as on this journey. So,
Do you have any current propositions for jobs?
yeah, I got a couple shops in Orlando, Florida that I've been chopping it up with. That possibly think about interviewing me if I ever take the ride out there. I probably got a shop in Georgia. I know I got shops in PA. You know, shout out to my man Trey the Barber. You know, he already told me, man, that he has a shop. You know, if I'm ever up there even for a week, he's giving me a chair. You know, I met a lot of barbers throughout my time of being in the game. You know, being in the game since I'm 17 years old and I'm 23. So like, no matter where I go, I may always have a chair. May not, but that's not gonna stop me from getting my money. You know, but shout out to all the predecessors, man. All these cats that been in the game longer than me, or you know, are licensed already, and you know, whatever the case may be, man. So yeah, I do got a couple propositions and stuff like that. Like, I got a couple shops that I'm thinking about, and I know for damn sure I got shops like crazy in New York City for me to hit up, and I know I got a chair regardless. You know, so yeah.
What are some short-term goals and long-term goals you have for when you get out of school?
Well, obviously my short-term goals is for me to finish school, you know, get my license, and then for like my first 2 years after being licensed, I want to work in the shop under somebody else, because that's how you got to start off to build your clientele, as we all know that. And then after that, you know, however long it takes me to build up enough clientele to where I know I'm gonna get that steady money regardless. But shout out to Roger the Barber. He actually came out with a deal on how to increase your clientele within 30 days. So like, that's actually been helping me. And now I chopped it on the side note. I chopped it up with another barber up in Florida, where he was talking about, you know, some people may not always need that. I'm not gonna say I need it or don't need it, but any more information, any more advice could always help. You know, don't think because you're licensed or because you think you're the best barber that nobody can tell you nothing. You know, there's no humility in that. You know, if I'm not humble today, I'll be humiliated tomorrow. Like, I'm not, you know, I will stay humble at all times and let somebody else that may know more than me help me out. But my goals for me is get into the shop, get my clientele up, open up my own shop, you know, and then have somebody work underneath me, whether it be my little brother or one of the little homies on the block, you know, for them to get their license. And once they get their license and I could trust them enough to run the shop by themselves, I want to go back to school and become an instructor, because I noticed in a lot of shops I've been in, or a lot of shops that I get my head cut in, or a lot of the schools that I visited, you know, each state, you know, each person, each instructor teaches differently, you know, and I feel how else best to give back to the barber community is to go get my instructor's license and me teach the up and coming barber. Now, to me, that's gonna be a real humbling experience for me. So those are my goals that I have so far, and to live life in this industry, man. I feel this is the best industry I've been in, and I've been in multiple industries.
What was your most favorite part about being a barber?
My most favorite deal about being a barber, man, is meeting a bunch of new people. You know, as you can tell, I'm real talkative. I don't know how to shut the fuck up. If a tree would talk back, I'll talk to a fucking tree. You know, that's just me being a townie from New York, and just me being my father's son that he don't know how to shut up either. But anyway, you know, my favorite part is the fact that I meet new people, and you know, I laugh about it, man. I make jokes about it when I meet cosmetologists and shit like that. It's like, you know, females go to the salon to talk shit about us or talk shit about whatever. Us men, when I say us, I mean us men. And then, what do you, like in my head, I'm like, what do you think us niggas do when we in the shop? We talk about how, you know, we love our wife, we love our girl, you know, or we're just fucking this bitch and her friend is fine as hell. Like, the same shit that females talk about in the salons, us men talk about in the shop. You know, a shop is like a safe zone for us, you know, and that's one of my favorite things, the fact that, you know, we could talk about whatever and we won't get judged unless you got that one asshole in the shop, which you're always gonna have that one asshole in life. But, you know, it's the fact that, like, you know, from my experience of being in school and all that, man, I get these clients, man, where they sit in my chair and for some reason they open up to me like I'm their therapist. You know, you go to a normal therapist, you're paying $200 a session for an hour, and you go see your barber for 20 to 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, paying $20 a haircut, and you're able to get off whatever's going through your mind. You know, and like me going through what I've been through since like birth to now, there's a lot of times where I can help that individual out of this in the situation, you know, and it's basically giving back to my community, giving back to the next person, man. That's my most favorite part about being a barber, and of course the fucking money. You know, $20 to $30 for a half hour, making $40 to $60 an hour, compared to making $8.50 an hour flipping burgers. Who could pass that up? You know, so that's my number one favorite thing about being a barber, and meeting all the single moms. Nah, I'm just joking. But nah, all jokes aside though, man, being a barber, man, it's a fantastic life, man. That's how I feel about it.
Any last comments you gotta add?
You know, if you're newer than myself, or you just think about getting into the game, man, you know, link up with a lot of people, man. Link up with a lot of barbers, man. Visit various shops like I did, and just chop it up with them. You know, ask them questions like, yo, how much money you make on a slow day? How much money you make on a fast day? You know, ask them the same question that my cameraman, you know, asked me. You know, if you want, you can put the questions in the description if that was the type of question that you want to ask those barbers that either inspired you to become a barber, or just, man, fuck even the ones that inspired you, didn't inspire you, man. Just hit up various shops in your hood. You know, regardless, you know, man, like, I went to various shops. When I went to Oklahoma, I went to various shops. When I was in New York, I went to various shops. When I was in Virginia for a week, I went to shops out there. And, you know, I visited various shops because I wanted to see how other people felt about this industry, you know, and so that's some advice that I could give, man. And, you know, stay humble and stay on the motherfucking grind, man. Like, go to, you know, if your state got an apprenticeship program, if you can't afford to go to school, take the apprenticeship program. If you could afford to go to school, you know, unfortunately, you know, go to school. Unfortunately, you know, I'm in a state where they don't have the apprenticeship program. I wish they did, because, you know, I'd rather be in an apprenticeship program than school. But, you know, hit up the schools, man. Look for the best school in your town. Look for the best school in your state. You know, look how many hours they have. You know, whatever the case may be, man. This is what you want to do with your life. Do exactly what you need to do. You know, like I said, talk to other barbers, ask them what they had to do to get where they at now. You know, like I said, man, in all my videos, I always leave my contact information. If you got any other further questions, feel free to fucking ask me, G. Like, I got no problem helping the next one out, man. And always stay humble. Like I say, I can't say enough. Stay humble, grind hard. You know, get that motherfucking money. You know, like I said, man, my contact information is below. You know, I'm gonna leave a couple of links to my homies that inspired me and that I chop it up with on the reg. You know, so let me know what's up. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you feel you got any other questions, feel free to hit me up and ask me those questions. So, signing out.